This is so weird that it does it through Google Hangouts.
There we are.
Hi!
Hi, everyone. Here we are. Welcome to month 10 of the Magnificent Life Book Club and Coaching Experience. I'm Debbie Whitlock.
This is Jessica Butts, and Debbie and I were just sitting here literally toasting to month 10.
Yay!
Month 10. So congratulations to all of you who have kept up or even semi-kept up.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, this is quite a feat. I'm feeling it, actually. I'm a little bogged down from the reading, but I love, love, love the reading. I love this month's book. This is such a huge part of my life, just a huge, huge part of my life. And I feel like it's stuff that we've talked a lot about this year. And we're going to continue it for month 10. So I think it's an interesting time to be talking about it, as I just came out of Mercury retrograde too for 3 weeks.
Super fun.
Kind of in some of my notes to talk about how we feel that energy and how we are all energy beings. So we're just going to spend the hour today or tonight talking to you about Ask and It Is Given. So I'm going to take like the first half, and of course we'll just interject as we go along, as we always do. I think you guys are used to the routine by now. And then Deb will take the second half, and she's a little more structured than I am, so I will just go the way that I go. I wanted to start by just jumping in and admitting something. I did not understand that Abraham Hicks was not a person.
I didn't think you did.
I am embarrassed. So Maxine was like, "Oh, who's this Abraham Hicks person?" I go, "Dude, he's the author of the book." And then I totally owed her an apology, because I was like, "Oh my God, this is not a person.
Right.
It's the Abraham Hicks method." So I will also admit, I do find it a little wonky and a little woo-woo. I mean, I'm pretty woo-woo, but that is woo-woo for me, that they are getting divine guidance from a guy named Abraham. I mean, I guess it's, God or the universe or whatever. I'll be honest, I found it a little shocking, so I'm guessing some of you did as well. And I'm outing myself with my ignorance that I did not know that Abraham Hicks was not a real person.
Yeah, I remember many of you here locally know Kristen Marie Sherline, and she gave me a whole audio set a number of years ago with Abraham Hicks. And I was like, who is this person? Abraham. Yeah, I was the same way. Didn't know it wasn't a real person.
Had no idea. None. One of my clients is really into it, and I had to out myself to her last week too. I was like, yeah, I didn't realize this. I'm embarrassed. And so for those of you who want to be embarrassed with me, go right ahead, because it was embarrassing.
Yeah.
But the concepts are all fabulous. Whatever, I mean, I actually kind of had to fast forward my reading through that part, because I was like, wow, this is a little woo-woo for me. But the point is all the same, which is that he is divine guidance from the universe. And that's what this is all about. And I talk a lot about with my clients in the book that I'm trying to write.
There is no try.
The book I'm writing, I am writing it. Between God and the universe. And I believe in both. So I don't think it needs to be either or. And I know you believe in both. I am an absolute strong believer in there is a God, and I also believe in universal energy. And so I had before I jump into this, I had this really pretty big epiphany when I was at that conference that I went to in Fort Lauderdale. And it was all about mindset. So we were doing a lot of this talking. And I realized while I was there that I have trouble commanding the universe, which is what we're supposed to do, command it, because I was mixing up God and the universe. Because as a strong Christian, I don't believe that I have any right in the world to command God. And so I had this massive epiphany that I don't command the universe like I should be or could be, because I'm afraid of this negative connotation with God.
Well, because if you think about it, if you pray, it's usually you're asking for guidance. You're asking for, some kind of a spiritual support mechanism. And so if you're praying to God, it's a little more gentle as opposed to telling the universe exactly what's up.
Yeah. So since I've gotten back, I've gotten really good at this because I've kind of gotten over this idea and I have been commanding the universe. I mean, this is just the way it's going to be. You are bringing me this thing. I mean, Deb and I were just kind of having a chat about an area of my life that I am just commanding things, and I'm starting to see it happen. And what it does is it also changes your belief that it will happen, because a huge part of this book is about the belief that it will happen. Because if we sit around and ask for something, but we don't believe it's going to come, guess what? It doesn't come. You
Well,
say something?
and I was just going to say that's, kind of the second half of the book really talks about focusing on what we don't want as opposed to focusing on what we do want. And that's a big lesson. And so I can't wait to really jump into some of that, because I know many of you are in that place. When you're talking with Jessica, you're talking with myself, you're talking to a friend, your own coach, your, best girlfriend, whoever it is, and they say, tell me what you want. 90% of the people out there, when you ask them that question, will start by telling you what they don't want, which is telling in terms of why they're still where they are.
Totally.
Because you're focusing on what you don't want. You're focusing on the things. And so that, back to this book, is creating this vibration, and the universe is going, okay, well, that's where your attention is. So let's just keep you there.
Yeah.
And I know it takes a while to flip your head in this. And that's why, this last 3/4 of a year now, it's been systematic, step by step by step, all the way through, to get us where we are. It's just like anything else. We've got to keep flexing these muscles in order to get where we're going.
And my part of the book is a huge part of that. So let's jump in, because I can, pontificate and then my time's up. Okay. So the very beginning of the book, I will start saying now, not he anymore, they start talking about the 2 ways that we make this stuff happen. The way that we make our beliefs happen with the universe is through 2 ways: meditation and affirmations. And for those of you who know me pretty well, I'm big into both of these things. So I'm big into manifesting things by, obviously, my goal cards. You guys know about this. Literally meditating. I mean, there's times where I sit in silence and I think about how it will be when I have the thing. So I think a lot about what it's going to be like when my book is done, how I'm going to feel when I'm in love again, when whatever it comes up. I sit in those feelings as if it has already happened. So I want to read you 2 of the, and I've read these before to you guys, so these are not new to you, but I will post these up on the Facebook page as well. But 2 of the affirmations that I do, and I have them up in my bathroom now, because I realized I said them a whole bunch and then I got away from them. And so now they're in my bathroom and I see them every single day. And the other day when I was in some real doubt, I said these all the way to work. So I mean, I did it for like 15 minutes over and over and over and over and over. So whenever you're feeling doubtful and you need to get yourself out of that place, I know this one by heart. I don't need to read it. I am positively expecting great results no matter what I see in front of me. The universe is rearranging itself for my best interest right now. So I had another epiphany when I was on this trip, and this is in chapter 2, is that I played this, and I know you guys do this too, that's why I'm sharing it. I played this game with God and the universe, and I would pray for signs for things that I already knew were good for me. Oh God, if I'm supposed to do this, will you show me a sign? And I had this, I was taking a shower in the condo I was staying in, and I realized, why am I doing that? God wants what's best for me, always. God doesn't want bad things for people. The universe doesn't want bad things. Like Debbie's saying, always focusing on the positive. And so I don't need to play that game anymore.
No.
He just wants what's best for me, so I don't need to do that. So it's always positively expecting great results no matter what I see in front of me. The universe is rearranging itself for my best interest right now. The second one, which from a control freak to other control freaks, this is a good one. And I changed it a little bit. I released this intention and I added tension because I get tense about it. When I'm trying, you know me, when I'm trying to make something happen,
Yeah.
I'm efforting too much. It's too tense. So I release this intention and tension to you, your universe, knowing it is fulfilled with grace and beauty in each moment. I know that it is already on its way to me, and so it is. And that is part of this belief that God wants what's best for you. And that is chapter 2. So chapter 1 is really about positively expecting great results no matter what. Just having that mindset all the time. Chapter 2 is about God wants good things for you. So quitting with this idea that we have to somehow fake it, or we have to pray for it, or that we have to expect yucky things. That is not what God wants for us. And so chapter 3 goes on to talking about creating our own reality. Oh, good. What do you have to share?
Well, I was just going to say,
Oh!
so I have taken Jessica's little affirmations.
Awesome.
And I have put them, in these little pretty frames.
Okay.
And so these sit on my
Makes me
desk.
happy.
Right? So they sit on this desk. They're really beautiful, and they're right over my computer. You know what they say. But I put them in these beautiful frames, and they just sit there. And so when I make decisions,
I love that.
I release this intention to you, knowing it is fulfilled with grace and beauty. I know it is already on its way to me, and so it is. Right? And sometimes when I'm having that challenging moment, that's that I'm positively expecting great results no matter what I see in front of me. I mean, that's that thing. I will look either to the left or the right, depending on what I need in that moment. So put them in pretty frames.
Yeah, I love that. Mine are not in pretty frames around my bathroom, but they're surrounded by pretty pictures.
Yeah.
And so that really leads into, we create our own reality. And it's kind of what Deb started with, is what are we thinking about all day? If you're thinking, I'm fat, I'm unlovable, I don't have any money, I'm in debt, I don't have any friends, guess what? All of that's true. Because that you are marinating in your own negativity. It's just a fact. I mean, I realized, I've been having lots of epiphanies lately, and I realized the other day that I moved from a gorgeous, beautiful, amazing home in Issaquah, and I moved into an apartment on Mercer Island. And I say out loud, at least 5 or 6 times a week, not even intentionally, I say, gosh, I love my place. Yeah. I love my place. I'll just be sitting there on my glassy baby roulette and I'll go, God, I love it here. And I realized, I think I made that happen. Yeah. I mean, it is a cute place, but get real, it's no grandiose house that I used to live in, but I like it a whole lot more than I liked that place. And it's because I say it all the time. I have created that. I do this with my weight. I don't really fluctuate that much, but there's times where I feel fat and gross and whatever. And it's because I'm telling myself, oh, I shouldn't have eaten that or whatever. And then there's times where I'm just like, God, you look hot. You feel good. You look trim, rocking it, girl. I don't look any different. I seriously don't. I tried on a dress the other day that I wore like 6 months ago when I thought I was totally fat. And I put it on. It fits exactly the same. And I think I look awesome right now. There's no difference. No. It's all in my head. Yeah. It's all in my head. I am creating that own reality. I'm choosing to have those thoughts. So something that I know, I'm probably behind the times on this, but in case I'm not, I figure as your coach, I will share this with you. And you will probably laugh at me because you've been doing this for years. I finally started a gratitude journal. And it's the first thing I do every morning when I wake up. I have my routine. I have my cup of coffee. I light my glassy baby. I have all my stuff and I sit in my chair with Tucker, and I have started its own journal. It's one of my pink journals, and I write, today I am grateful for, and I thought I would be bored. Like, what am I going to write about? Oh, I'm grateful for Deb and my sister. Like, it's really creative things, actually. And every day so far, I've had very creative, powerful things to be thankful for. And it is starting to shift my energy. I'm constantly positively expecting great results. You know what? Even if it doesn't happen, I'm just not going to believe it. Because get real. It doesn't mean that everything in my life is perfect, but I am positively expecting great results no matter what I see in front of me. Right. If I have no business prospects, I have no men prospects, I have nothing to wear, whatever it is. It's just, I am positively expecting great results. Yeah. And it is such a mind shift change.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. I was listening to an interview the other night, Tim Ferriss. For those of you who don't subscribe to his podcast, you should. And he interviewed Tony Robbins. It's a 2-hour podcast. Unbelievable.
Let me write this down.
Tony has a new book coming out in November, and so Tony is talking in this whole interview about mindset and gratitude. And he's talking, the first hour is about his routine, his ritual, his elements of self-care, what he does to keep his own peak performance so high. I mean, here's a man who travels 200 days a year, right? And rocks it out every single time. But he was talking about, he starts every morning in gratitude. He has, he says, literally, it takes 10 minutes. And he said, I don't care how busy you are. If you don't have 10 minutes, you don't have a life.
Yeah, totally.
Right?
Or get your ass up 10 minutes earlier. Right.
If you don't have 10 minutes, you don't have a life. And so he's like, it's about, just grounding myself, setting my intention for the day, gratitude. Yeah. That was, he's like, that is full of the first part of what I do is being grateful every day.
And, this isn't rocket science, but you realize it's because you're starting your day, or I'm not great about this, ending your day. So there's a whole bunch of new research that you should be doing this stuff before you go to bed as well, because it keeps your brain in that place while you're in REM sleep. So I'm going to start adding that in. But
you can even start, like, for those of you who are just like, gosh, get up 10 minutes earlier, write in my journal, I got to get the kids out, whatever. You can even start like this. It's as easy to implement as this. That moment right before you wake up when you can't quite open your eye, you're not ready to look around yet. All you have to do is just take a deep, deep cleansing breath, because we're really bad breathers as human beings. So I want you to breathe from your belly, fill your belly up, and then fill up to your chest, let it all out, and just say thank you. You can start as simple as that. Just say thank you. If you want to say thank you, God, do. If you want to say thank you, universe, do. Whatever it is, just big, deep belly breath, clean it all out, and just say thank you. You can start as simple as that. The journaling will come, trust me.
Yeah. Love it. Okay, so chapter 4 gets a little, into the negative stuff, which we all have to talk about. But the chapter 4 is all about not believing. So again, saying the thing, but not actually believing that it's going to come true. And this takes practice. I'm not going to lie. This is not as easy as it seems. It takes a little while, but this is about getting into your vibrational energy. Right. And for me, I call it wonky energy. I think all of you know that that's kind of my word. They call it bad vibrational energy. Some people call it being out of alignment. I just call it wonky energy, which to me is also being in your back seat. All of those things are the same thing. So when we are not in a place where we're living our life from the front seat and we're feeling confident and we're in the vortex, as they also call it, we are in our back seat. This is bad energy. This is where we are not supposed to be. This is when we get in our baby in the back seat and our energy is all wonky. And we're all going to get into those times, but this is not the time to be like writing goal cards and journaling and doing, I mean, you can journal when you're in a bad place, but you're not going to be kind of setting intentions when you're in this kind of bad vibrational energy. And there's people who spend years or their entire life in this bad place and they wonder why things never come to them. This is why. Because you are coming to the universe with wonky energy. You know, we've talked about this before. It's like, I want that thing, I want that thing, I want that thing, but no, I don't, what? I either don't believe I deserve it. I think rich people are entitled, whatever your beliefs are, or I'm not good enough. Again, we've talked about that in past books about this whole idea with the big leap of what our limiting beliefs are, but we have to check that out. About, I'm not really sure I want that. You know, people that say, oh, you know, I want to fall in love. And it's like, okay, well, let's talk about that. And then they go through it and they're like, well, God, I really am enjoying my time alone. And, you know, I'm not really sure I'm ready to settle down. And it's like, okay, well, then stop it. Quit wasting your energy trying to manifest a relationship right now when clearly you're not ready. And if you are, then get over that. But you can't ask for the thing but not really want it. You got to be ready.
And here's a good way to think of it. Have you ever had that report or, you know, something at your job that you needed to get done? You had the papers on your desk and you had a cup of coffee and it splashed on it, or you set it down and the rim, it left a mark on it. If you think of that visually, that's what we're talking about here. So if you're trying to set an intention in a crappy place, you're going to leave crappy energy on it and it doesn't go away. It's the same idea with that report. If you spill some coffee on the report, the coffee stain doesn't go away. It's there. So be really mindful of that. If you're working with Jessica's goal cards or your own, or you're writing in your journal, just be really conscious of where are you. It's one thing to know that you want to do these things, but if you're not in the right place, don't do them until you get yourself shifted into the place you need to be to make it happen.
Yeah. So these guys call it the whole Abraham Hicks method. They're into the vortex. And as you guys know me, I call it, you know, being in your front seat. Whatever that good energy is where you know, need to be doing this kind of stuff. I love that analogy with the whole coffee thing. That's good.
Because we've all done it. We've all had that thing. And then we were like, crap, I just spilled the coffee on the, you know, and it just stays there and you're stuck, right? So don't do that when you got wonky, weird energy. I had a conversation with a client today who was just all over the place about, I think I want this and then I want that. And I'm like, you just got to stop. Like, you just got to stop. Like, the poor universe, I'm kind of feeling bad right now. I'm exhausted and we're only 15 minutes into this call. Like, imagine being, you know, the universe swirling around you going, for God's sakes, woman, make up your mind. Like, we'll bring you what you want. Just be clear. Do you want 6 people or do you want 26 people? Well, you know, 6 would be fine, but 26 would be better. No, stop it.
No,
stop that.
You've got to be clear. You know, I talk about this. I talk about this whole thing in a different way. When I'm talking about the tennis court analogy, the whole codependency thing. You know, I had this conversation with a client today too about, do not go have that difficult conversation with your wife until you are super clear on your side of the net. It's the same thing with difficult conversations as it is with the universe. Don't go out asking for it until you're ready for it. I mean, I'm a pretty amazing manifester, and there are times when I actually freak myself out because I'm just like, okay, oh, my schedule feels a little weird. I would like 5 on this day and 7 and 7, and then like 2 weeks later, I realized my schedule has completely shifted that way. It is about being like that crystal clear with your intention that I would like 22 clients and I would like them on these days and they pay on time, whatever. It is your intention and your energy that you are putting out there that manifests even the smallest things.
Yep, absolutely.
So I want to get to a couple of really important points before I pass this over to Deb. So chapter 5 talks about we are all energy. I'm guessing all of you that are watching, because we're, most of us are intuitive types. I don't have to like sit and talk to you about this, but the belief and the understanding that we are all energy and we are then attached literally to the universe. And so I had mentioned Mercury retrograde when we first started this call. And if any of you don't believe in energy, I would encourage you to get some proof based on how wonky your energy was probably the last 3 weeks. I know mine was crazy.
Yeah.
I actually didn't even know we were in Mercury retrograde, and then my energy was just totally nuts. And I reached out to all my woo-woo friends and just said, what's happening in the world? Something's going on, you planetary people, tell me what's happening. And they were like, oh, honey, you don't know. And so they sent me all this stuff, and then I sent it to every client and every friend, and I put it on Facebook and was like, okay, everybody. But it's this whole concept of we're all energy. It's literally what we're made up of. When you see the tides, for people who don't get it, that is happening because of the moon. Yeah. And so our energy is just simply tied to the universe. So again, when you are emoting positive energy, you are getting positive energy. When you are emoting negative energy, that is what you are getting back. It's this, this is what chapter 6 is about. It has to set this up, because chapter 6 is then all about the law of attraction. Yes. Which is really basically what this book is all about. But the missing piece is, I think, what these guys talk about, because the law of attraction is not just simply sitting and saying, I want $1 million.
Put a red car on your vision board and ta-da, there it is.
Yeah, that's bullshit. That does not work. And so that's why there's 5 chapters to set this up. That's why I am all about action too. Like, the second chapter, the second section of my book is actually about mindset. But you can't just drop it at that, because you have to take action and you have to actually believe it. And there's stuff, these 5 setup chapters before they even jump into the law of attraction, is we have to be in vibrational energy before we start this law of attraction stuff. Because I think a lot of people go and do the law of attraction stuff and are like, oh, this is bullshit, this doesn't work. Okay, well, why don't you take a breath and realize there might be something else to that. And what a lot of that is we're not in this vibrational energy. We're not in a place of believing. Yeah. My coach gave me this really great, it's from this book. So where is it in this book? So somewhere in this book, that's weird. Anyway, somewhere in this book, there's a, maybe it's in your section. There is an area where they talk about how you make decisions. And that there's a left-hand side that are positive vibrational energy words, and on the right-hand side are all the negative words. And so when we are going to make a decision, we can literally check this checklist of, am I making my decisions from this right side? Am I worried? Am I scared? Am I can't think of other horrible words. Am I bored? They're right there. Yeah.
There's only really like six or seven things.
Yes.
Your scale of emotions.
Yes.
Is the scale of emotions. It's back in like chapter, 17, 18, 20, something like that.
Yeah.
And literally think about this. There are only 6 or 7 emotions. Joy, knowledge, empowerment, freedom, love, appreciation is at the top. Passion, enthusiasm, positive, optimism, hopefulness, contentment. 7 things to focus our time on. The other 15 are not positive.
And that's where most of us make our decisions.
Think about that. I'm going to talk about this.
Okay, good. So I did want to bring that up though, because that is a really powerful place of checking your energy. And that's actually just the rest of my kind of section. The rest of the book is really just about checking your own energy and where you are at. Are you in a place of worry and doubt and fear? And starting to be consciously aware of that's where I'm at. So again, my analogy, is this baby in the back seat thing. That is a lot of worry and doubt and shame and yucky feelings. But when we're in our front seat, we're excited, we're passionate, we're enthusiastic, we're all of those kinds of words. And so really living from that place and coming from a place of just true belief and getting yourself in alignment. And I think I'll end with that our emotions are truly a guide.
Yes.
And that's exactly what this is talking about, is when you feel like you need to hide or you're feeling yucky or wonky energy, you can't be manifesting this stuff.
Mm-mm.
You just can't. And I have so many people come and just say, it's just not happening. It's just not happening. It's like, okay, well, let's talk about why.
There's a disconnect. You know, your mouth can be saying one thing, but your head and your heart, I mean, those can be in two separate places and your mouth saying a third thing. Like,
Yeah.
no wonder sometimes, most of the time, we're not getting what we want.
Yeah. And, you know, a good therapist, a good coach, a good friend,
Mhm.
I mean, can talk you through where you may be out of alignment. And it's really critical to figure that stuff out. And it's, you know, it's an ongoing process too.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Okay.
For sure. So I pick up in the second half of the book and, you know, just kind of, again, like all these books, it just builds on top of each other. And I think what I love about the second half of the book is it really talks about practice. You know, it talks in chapter 11 about how with practice, you become a joyous, deliberate creator. And I just think that's, you know, it's true. It's like, you know, any of you who've made personal choices about what you're eating, your exercising, your spiritual development, your personal development, whatever it is, it takes practice. And once you intentionally take steps every single day, it becomes easier and easier. It's part of a process. You know, I joined a gym and I started working out with a trainer 3 weeks ago. And 3 weeks ago, I couldn't do a push-up. Not one, not a single one. 3 weeks later, I now can do 5 push-ups. Now, nobody's going to put a statue up for me over that, right?
Not
But
yet.
for me, somebody who's never had that kind of core strength, like that's a big deal. That didn't happen because I set an intention to do 5 push-ups. It happened because I consistently followed a program to be able to get stronger. And that's what we can all do, you know, inside our own lives when it comes to creating the life that we want. You know, Jessica was just talking here a few minutes ago about how we can want things, but there's a disconnect between, we're not in alignment between how we feel and what we ask for. So back to the feelings of this. I also love in this chapter how they talk about, it's not about controlling our thoughts, it's about guiding our thoughts, right? So I don't need to beat my thoughts up. I mean,
That's the opposite.
it's the opposite. No,
That's not good energy.
it's not good energy. Like, I am going to will myself to have positive affirmation. That's not going to do well for you, right? So it's about guiding your thoughts. It's about checking in. And when you feel yourself drifting into another thought, guiding yourself back again, right? And again, it's just going to take a little bit of practice because, again, we were just talking about it. If there are 15 things here on this sheet that are negative, crummy energy pieces, it's easy to see why we spend so much time there, and 7 or so that are on the positive side. I mean, really, when you talk to people, what do they talk about? How are you today? Oh my God, I'm so overwhelmed. I feel really under. The words, what do you hear? I'm so worried right now. I'm really disappointed. I'm frustrated. I said that to Jessica when she came here. She goes, how are you doing today? So I'm really kind of frustrated, right? But that's where we spend most of our time. So we have to be super conscious. And I believe, and I have no scientific or social proof for this, I believe that part of the reason we spend so much time there is because it's what's swirling around us, right? And so it just gave me chills. So think about it, right? When you're out in an event, you're meeting up with a girlfriend, you're texting with someone, you're talking to them on the phone, you're with a client, you're at your job, whatever it is that you're doing. If we have 3 times the negative swirling around us, do you see what happens to us energetically? Like it pulls us into this vortex of crap.
You know, there's that saying, we've said this in previous months, that you are like the 5 people that you spend the most time with. So choose your friends carefully. The same can be said for energy. I mean, what is going on? Are you guys sitting around shit talking your friends and other
Are you
people?
gossiping? Are you like, what are you doing? Yeah, what are you doing? Where are you spending your time?
Yeah.
You know, are you watching, you know, I like myself some good reality TV, but I can tell you from like 8 o'clock on, the last thing that I'm going to watch is episodes of Real Housewives of anybody.
Because it's so negative.
So negative, right. So spend, and that was another thing I remember reading a few years ago. There was a report that came out that talked to Chinese billionaires, and they said, what were their days like? What did they do? And they said that from essentially 8 o'clock on, they turned off all electronics and they only filled the last 2 hours before they went to bed. They only filled their time with positive reading, inspiration, historical facts, something like that, but nothing that had crap around it, which is kind of cool. What I loved about, you know, kind of this transition as we're getting back into the emotions was whatever we give our attention to, that thought becomes activated.
And grows.
Right, and grows. So we've all seen the bumper sticker, like choose your thoughts. Like, be really mindful of the thoughts that you're selecting in any given moment, because once you have that thought, it's activated. So again, it takes practice. And I know there's somebody out there right now who's watching and went, oh crap. Like, oh crap. And
I actually did find myself, my mind was wandering for a second, and I was like, oh God. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what happens. So just be really mindful and catch yourself. Start playing with yourself this next month. Like, that's part of the thing, is we read these books for a month, and now we come together and we talk, and then we get to execute, right? So be really mindful of this next month. When you catch yourself going somewhere with a thought, turning it, right? Just pivot a little bit, give it new energy, focus in on it with the right energy and intention.
And so I want to say too, this is like your muscles right now.
Mm-hmm.
You have to grow
Yeah.
them. This is a muscle.
Mhm.
It's not gonna, it's like meditation.
Yeah.
It's like your muscle workouts right now. It's all of that. We
Mhm.
have to train our muscles to become better
Yeah.
at this. I mean, I will be doing this the rest of my life, and I'm way better than I
Mhm.
used to be, and I still have a long way to go.
Yeah.
But it's that practice.
Yep, absolutely. So moving through the book, the next thing they talk about was chapter 12. I think the title of it was Your Emotional Set Points Are Within Your Control. And so I think a lot of times we have bought into this idea of, oh, it's outside my control. That's a load. Just hang out with that for a second. It's all inside you. You get to decide, right? It is impossible to control the conditions, yes, that somebody else has created. What you do get to control is your own belief, the way you respond or react to the situation. And the more you defend your beliefs, like, hang out with me for a second here, the more the law of attraction helps you live them out.
Say that again.
So the more you defend your beliefs, the more the law of attraction works to help you live them out. So do you ever find yourself hanging out with kind of the friends on the fringe, right? They're us. They're the weird ones like us. They're the people that are doing this. We're sitting on, little Google Hangouts talking about this kind of stuff, right? And so we feel really comfortable here, and we can talk about this. And then we leave this environment and we go somewhere else, to our family. We go to work, and we just pull back a little bit, and we aren't so confident. We don't have that depth of conviction. The law of attraction will work with you the more convicted you are. And the more you put that out there. Again, if we go back to what we were talking about at the beginning, if everything is energy and you're putting a vibration out there, what you are putting out there is what you're going to draw back. So help the universe pull that back to you again. It's also why, and I made a note here, it's also why we need to eliminate the icky people in our life.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about this a lot. Jess just said it. We're like the 5 most people that we spend time with. This is awesome. Like, I can do this all day long, right? Who are you spending your time with? If you're in a situation where people are not accepting your ideas of your depth of conviction, the vibration you're putting out there, it's probably time to start looking for other people.
And that's okay.
It's okay. Doesn't make them bad. Doesn't make you better. It's just sometimes part of what happens. Sometimes the journey you're on, well, always the journey that we're on is our own journey.
Mm-hmm.
The catch to that is not everyone's meant to come with us, right? And it doesn't mean we leave them behind. It's just, think of it, Robert Frost, 2 roads diverge into a wood. Doesn't mean that your road is better and theirs is worse. It's just, you're meant to go this way and they're not. They're welcome to come, but this is what it's going to look like, and being really clear about that. When you get really specific, when you activate your thoughts and get really specific, take it from the general to the focus, the vibration gets bigger. When you aren't confident in your ask, the vibration is small. It's just like, somebody says, what would you really like? Oh, I'd really like this, right? I really like this. What happens? Are you going to get that? No.
I am gonna have this.
That's right. But if you say, this is what I want, this is what I desire, there's a whole different energy. Like, just feel that in your body, like the next time you ask for something, right? Feel how your body is when you ask for things. Are you asking it from small you, or are you asking it from big you?
Or commanding it even.
Right.
Like getting into this place of
Yes.
commanding, I'm gonna have this.
Yep.
That is belief.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that is belief when you just, this is happening.
It was like Jess said earlier, just be specific. Stop being general and vague. It's annoying.
God doesn't know what I want to be happy means. He's
No.
busy. I always joke about that. God is busy.
God is busy.
He does. I mean, you pray
Help
like
him.
that. He's like, honey, I got other things to do. Get back to me when you're specific.
Yeah, when you get clear, come back to me. And
He
then I'll
doesn't
help
know
you.
what happy means.
Right?
Tell him what happy means.
Right. So as you move through the book, the next thing, that they really are helping us settle into is this idea that our feelings are our guide. And we've talked a little bit about that at the front end of this, but check in with your feelings. If you really want something, but you feel a little mixed, you're going to get mixed results,
Mm-hmm.
right? We're talking about that wonky energy that Jess talks about. If you, another way to think of it is like, so when we are driving, so those of you who follow me on Facebook know that I play gaslight roulette a lot in my car. Okay. If you don't follow me on Facebook, you really should, because it's kind of funny. And now I have a whole little community of people that every few weeks I get someone who tags me and says, want to play gaslight roulette this week? So far, I'm winner, and I've got a few people that haven't made it so far.
I am not playing that with you. Just go to the freaking gas station.
No, exactly. But here's the idea. So when the gaslight comes on, I don't get mad at the gaslight.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's doing its job. It's telling me, hey, ding dong, it's time to go get fuel. So I make a choice. I either go get fuel or I don't, right? The same thing is happening. Stay with me here for a second. The same thing is happening when you have a negative feeling. Mm-hmm. It's your internal gaslight. It's your indicator that your current choice of thoughts is not taking you in the direction you want. Mm-hmm. So negative coming on. It's trying to tell you, hey, screwy Louie, this is not where we want to be going.
Mm-hmm.
And so just like stopping at the gas station to refuel the car, I can replenish the tank, my emotional, spiritual, energetic tank, by choosing a better feeling.
Yeah.
And sometimes that means you're going to have to do some physical work. Today, it just seemed like, I do business coaching, for God's sakes, but it seems like I was in this space today with all my clients. I had clients that I was having to jolt their system and shift their energy because they were so wound up, right? So sometimes you have to do that. So if you find yourself going into some negative feeling, physically change, do something different, shock your system. And it's not get up and go for a walk. That may come next, but I'm talking physically do something that changes the whole physiology. Even if it's lapping your hands together, standing up really quick. Those of us who work from home alone, this is a lot easier said than for those of you who are working inside Cubicle Nation, right? But the idea is shifting it and startling yourself out of it, because that's how you also begin to shift the patterns. I also appreciate in this book how they talk about, and again, this is off into the woo side. Most of what we knew, this is my dog singing in the background for those of you, yes, we're back at my place. Most everything that we knew or know now, we knew before we arrived on this planet.
God, that's so deep.
Isn't that
It's
cool?
weird.
I think it's awesome.
Kind of freaks me out.
So then the question that they ask in the book, which I loved, and this is where I love to hang out. Okay, Abraham, if you're so darn smart, and if I know so much, why the heck am I still stuck and struggling then? If I came here with all this amazing knowledge and wisdom, why am I still stuck? And it's really easy. It's so obvious, and it's so easy, and it's so difficult. Because the only reason any of us ever experience anything other than what we desire is because we're giving our attention to the thing we don't.
That's freaking deep.
I'm just telling you. Like, if you're stuck, if Abraham, you're so smart, dude, why am I still here? Because I bet if you really get clear with yourself right now, you are focusing on all the shit that you don't want in your life. And I'm not saying you're going to flip this over in a night, but just by reading this book, listening to this, starting to have a conversation with yourself, starting to have conversation inside our Facebook group, this is how it begins to shift. You will get what you think about. We all do. One of the things that they talk about in the book too is how each new achievement leads to a new desire. Have you ever found that? Like, I was thinking about this in the context of this book, again, the Tony Robbins interview with Tim Ferriss. If you take a look at your life, when you set a big goal for something and then you arrive there, and then you lose interest, you plateau, whatever, it's because you've hit your achievement and you haven't gone beyond it. Mm-hmm. Typically, people who plateau on something is because they've achieved just amazing, great success, but they haven't continued to over here, which is, well, now what's next? Mm-hmm. And so it's this constant conversation that we want to be having with ourselves. I think it's important for this, whether it's emotional, spiritual, relational, physical, whatever it is, there is no destination. Mm-hmm. It's just a journey. Like Jess said earlier, like this is all just inside of us. She will always be doing this. I will always be doing this. Some days it can be a little bit daunting. Most days it's freaking exciting as hell to me. So my question for you is, where are you? Where do you want to be? See, my iPhone, when I go into Google Maps, my iPhone never says, well, where have you been? Why were you there so long? Its mission, its only job is just to get me from here to my next place. Your emotions are the same thing. Your emotions aren't judging you. This book talks to us about this. Like, there is no judgment in our emotion. Our emotions don't say, well, why the hell did you spend so much time in that relationship? Or why the hell have you spent so much time in that job? Nope. Check in, fully supporting us. Remember, we came here knowing everything we need to know. And again, the universe and God is completely conspiring to support us. There's no judgment there. We are the beings that judge ourselves. Mm-hmm.
And part of that is daunting, but also really, really exciting.
So exciting.
Like, we have that power within ourselves.
Mm-hmm. I know.
It's really kind of incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the kind of stuff that lights me up. When I read this again, I go, you gotta be kidding me. Dog is still singing.
Harley agrees.
The other thing, one of the other things that struck me about this book was the reminder that our happiness doesn't, we've done so much work this year, 10 months. I know many of you have shared privately with Jessica and I, how profound these conversations have been for you and what you've really learned out of the reading and knowing there are other people who are reading this too. It doesn't depend on what anyone else wants for you. It's all about you. In the book, they talk about how when we give our desire to something and we say yes to it, we're including it in our vibration. And when we look at something that we don't want and we give attention to it, we're including that in our vibration. When we don't give attention to things, it can't be included in our vibration. You can't exclude the thing that you're giving your attention to. Does that make sense? Shh. But apparently when I get really intense, it makes the dog uncomfortable.
Oh my gosh.
But stick with that for a second. Mm-hmm. When you give no attention to something, when you don't include it.
Isn't that incredible?
Yeah. See, the simple act of excluding means we give attention to it. There's a mind bender for you. Because when we consciously think, I'm not going to think of that. And so this goes back to, I'm sure, choices, healthy eating, things like that. I don't think about what I'm not having.
Yeah.
I crowded all that crap out with more of the good things.
Yeah.
And so that's what they're talking about here in this book. If you got lost somewhere around chapter 19 and you're like, I don't get it, that's what they're talking about. They're not talking about, I am intentionally not going to think of that today. Just your head and your space and your vibration and everything fills up with all the good stuff that there's just no more room for the other stuff to come in.
Yeah. That's really an incredibly powerful point of all of this, because I think so many of us do that. I don't want to eat those Doritos. I don't want to eat those Doritos. I don't want to be in this bad relationship. I don't want to be in debt.
Yes.
Like I was coaching someone on how to write goal cards, and they were saying, I want to be debt free. And I was like, no. That word does not, you don't put that, don't you dare write that on that pretty piece of paper. You don't get to do that. But again, it's the thing that we're focusing on. So that's a huge point.
So start crowding it out.
Yeah.
Crowding it out with positive thoughts. It might be a mantra. It might be, something in a pretty frame. It might be a Post-it that you put, in your pocketbook or on your car. And while you're shifting all this stuff, it just takes time. So come up with a couple of phrases that you really like and put them everywhere you see them. Because when you start to get into the, stinking thinking part of things, all you got to do is just look at that, and it will start to create a physiological shift inside yourself that will completely change the energy that you're putting out and the vibration that you're putting out and what's coming back to you. So chapter 21, we're almost down to the end here. This is what I love. So chapter 21, you're only 17 seconds away from 68 seconds to fulfillment. Really? 17 seconds to 68 seconds of fulfillment? So if you haven't read the whole book, skip to chapter 21, because this is good. Because they've been talking to us about what and why, and finally, chapter freaking 21, they're telling us how, right? So in this part of the book, what he says is within 17 seconds of focusing on something, a matching vibration becomes activated. 17 seconds. And I want you to do this. I want you to sit and hear 17 seconds. 17 seconds. So what that tells you is this. It's not the first time the creepy thought comes into your head. You're like, shit, I'm screwed now. You got 17 seconds to interrupt that.
Nice.
Right? So give yourself some grace here and just know it's going to be part of the process. Within 17 seconds of focusing on something, a matching vibration becomes activated. And now, as that focus becomes stronger, the vibration becomes more clear, the law of attraction will bring to you more thoughts that match. So if you ever wonder why you start off with one tiny little thing and then pretty soon you have gone whoosh, or you focus on one tiny little thing and all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, the possibility. Because that's what happens. Energetically, it's all coming to you.
Because of the law of attraction.
Exactly. Okay. And so what happens is the vibration doesn't have much attraction power, but if you maintain your focus after the 17 seconds, the power of the vibration becomes further reaching. It just continues to grow and to grow and to grow. And if you manage, this is the magic. If you can manage to stay purely focused upon any thought, for as little as 68 seconds, just over a minute, the vibration is powerful enough that its manifestation begins.
That is so awesome.
How cool is that?
Really cool.
Okay, so when you're sitting down and you're writing your goal cards, your affirmations, this dog is
Harley,
hilarious.
come here.
He wants to play.
Oh.
He's so mad right now because it's like he wants to play. And so he's standing over at his toy box and like
he's manifesting play.
He's manifesting play, exactly.
Come
so
here.
Give us 7 minutes, dude, and playtime's yours.
Keep going. This is good.
But imagine this, like 17 seconds. So give yourself some grace here. So if you're still working on, all this, and I am too, this is also part of a process, right? Within 17 seconds, so you catch yourself, the thought isn't what you want. You have a chance to shift it. So pivot, go somewhere else, hold it for 17 seconds, and you'll get this insane sense of timing. You'll know how long that is. And then spend a minute with it, just over a minute, 68 seconds. The manifestation starts.
That is awesome.
How cool is that?
And then spending also intentional time during the day to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, and so what he says in here is when you repeatedly return to a pure thought, and pure thoughts can be good thoughts and not so good thoughts, right? But when you Repeatedly return to a pure thought, maintaining it for at least 68 seconds in a short period of time. That thought becomes a dominant thought. This is what we're talking about, the practice of habit and building it up. And once you achieve dominant thought, you experience matching manifestation until you change it. That's what this one does really, really well. Like she talks about, she can manifest shit like nobody's business. True.
Because
right?
I sit and I think about it.
Mhm.
I pretend as if it's already happened.
Mhm.
I mean, I did it just this morning. I
Yeah.
sat there for like 15 minutes and just was like,
Mhm.
that has already happened.
Yeah. So the thoughts you think equal your point of attraction.
Mm,
You get what you think about, whether you want it or not.
that's big.
Your thoughts equal vibration, and vibration is answered by the law of attraction. As your vibration expands and becomes more powerful, it eventually becomes powerful enough for manifestation to occur. It's all part of the process. Couldn't do a push-up, now can do 5, right? Same idea. In other words, what you think and feel and what manifests in your experience is always a vibrational match. If you wonder why you're stuck in the crappy job, the crappy relationship, again, that's where you're focusing.
Yeah.
If you're experiencing amazing clients, people coming from nowhere, relationships that are super healthy and awesome, guess what? That's where you're spending your time. And so at the end, we had already touched on this a little bit, but in the book, they talk about the scale of emotions and what they look like. Flip to the end of the book and look for the scale of emotions. Because here's the deal. What they say is on the scale of emotions, we should be spending our time playing in the toy box, apparently. But with the scale of emotions, we should be up in joy, knowledge, empowerment, freedom, love, and appreciation. Passion, enthusiasm, eagerness, happiness, positive expectation, belief, optimism, hopefulness, and contentment.
So can I add to that?
Mhm.
So my coach has helped me through this, that when you're thinking about this list,
Mhm.
she also says, just think about one thing
Yes.
that will get you to the next level. So if you're at pessimism, how do you get to just boredom?
Right.
And if you're at boredom, how do you get yourself to contentment?
Mhm.
Or if you're at blame, how do you get yourself to worry? Just think about how do you
One step.
Yes, and because you're not going to go from the fear, grief, depression, despair, powerlessness up to the very top.
Yeah.
But how do you start to get yourself up a couple of notches, even if just one?
Yeah. So spend some time with the scale of emotions. I printed this out and I put a little heart by it because it's just awesome. I mean, what a great way. And just what Jessica said, just checking in with yourself. If you're in boredom, how do you go from boredom to contentment? Like just one step. She's talked all year long about this. We don't need to take, the step. We just need to a step. That's it. Like just one along the ladder. And then chapter 22, which is the end, and then we're almost done, is the different degrees of our emotional guidance scale. And what I love is they end the book with this. Absolute alignment with our own source energy means that we know the following. Okay, you ready? You're free. You're powerful. You're good. You are love. You have value. You have purpose. And all is well. If you want to put something in a pretty frame,
Mm-hmm.
you are free, you are powerful, you are good, you are love, you have value, you have purpose, and all is well. We knew all this stuff when we got here. Now it's time to remember it.
Beautiful. Yeah, write that on a gold card and read it every day. That'll change your perspective.
Mm-hmm.
So, good conversation.
Good conversation.
Yeah,
Thanks
I
for being with us.
feel really good about this. Again, 10 months into this, you guys, and each month it feels as if we kind of bring it back.
Mhm.
Every book is kind of built upon one another, and this month certainly feels that way.
Yeah.
So next month, I feel like we're doing something a little special. This book feels special to me. I bought it at the airport. It's quite a bit more expensive than the other books that we normally do, but we're kind of wrapping up the year and it feels like a really nice one to have for kind of a Thanksgiving holiday. And it is Oprah's one and only book. She's never written a book before, and it's her only book. What I Know for Sure. So it's a bunch of short, sometimes very short, sometimes a couple of pages. Like this one is super, super short, if you can see that. Excerpts from her magazine. And it's lessons that she's learned throughout her life of what I know for sure. You know, what I know for sure is that good friends are invaluable. What I know for sure is, you know, dogs equal love, whatever. And they're just really great stories. So I thought this would be, I probably should have seen how many there were, but it seems as if you could literally just read 1 or 2 a day and be done for the year or the month. And I like books like that. It's easy. And so while you're off on Thanksgiving holiday with your family, you'll have this to read with you. And I'm almost done. Oh, I'm not. I'm halfway done. And it's a really lovely book. I think you guys will really enjoy it. And probably almost a little less coaching on this potentially, but possibly more of a discussion. So, you know, we've kind of mixed it up every month. So maybe next month we'll mix it up. So thanks for watching. And I hope this was valuable.
Absolutely. So be back next month, pop into the Facebook group, talk about some of the shifts that you picked up from this book, what you want to spend the next 30 days on, and we'll see you in our little group later in the week. Okay. So thanks for being here.
Bye.
Bye.